Thank you very much. I'm glad I have to say hello to so many people, because if I would have known that Mariam and Sami's only plan is to make me cry before I come here, then I would have made sure that I speak before Mariam. Thank you very much for your beautiful words, Sami and Mariam. Dear Secretary Steinlein, dear Mr. Jansen, dear Mr. Foreman, dear Mr. Safar, dear Sheikh Ibrahim Hussein, dear Jeremy Jones, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear family. When I traveled to Geneva 11 years ago to represent the University of Vienna in a student conference, I did not expect this journey to become the one that would change my life. Until that moment, I had never spent more than 5 minutes in a sincere conversation with a Muslim, and although at that point in time I considered myself to be a child of a globalized generation, I realized I had not yet talked to half of this world. This changed dramatically when a young Pakistani, as curious as he was courageous, asked the first Jew he ever met in his life if he might be interested to go for coffee. By actively stepping out of his comfort zone, by challenging everything he had ever been told, Mustafa gave me one of the greatest gifts I have received to this day. Not only a true and sincere friendship, lasting now a decade. He convinced me that in life, even someone as lost as myself at that point can find a path when finding the bravery to actually start walking. Ever since that day, I have refused to choose between my religion and my friends. It needed a young Muslim from Pakistan to make a young Jew from Austria understand that we are in the middle of losing another generation's battle against the ever-strong forces which divide along the lines of nationalities, religious belief, and so-called race. After fighting anti-Semitism in Austria for as long as I could remember, I needed a young Muslim from what I considered to be just another backward terrorist country at that time to make me understand the most simple and profound truth. If we do not learn to fight against all forms of racism and discrimination, we will never be able to put children into a world in which they do not constantly face hatred because of the way they pray, because of the place that they were born, or how they look. And so it began. More and more people stepped into my life, such amazing, inspiring, and extraordinary people, of all colors, of all faiths, of all beliefs. They showed me over and over again what really matters in life. They shattered and smashed my prejudices into a million little pieces, day by day. And when this feeling sets in, yes, this feeling of, I knew it from the beginning. I'm not the weird one. I should not feel guilty just because I want to believe that I am my brother's and my sister's keeper. That I am our children's hope. May they be born wherever, believing in whatever, or falling in love with whomever. When this feeling kicks in, my dear friends from all over the world, sometime this week, then we truly want to welcome you to the inner circle of the universe that we call the Muslim-Jewish Conference. When Jews and Muslims, leaders of today and tomorrow, mourn together at Babi Yar, at Srebrenica, at Mauthausen, and share each other's pain, when they come together in the middle of last year's Gaza crisis in order to have one meaningful exchange with the other side, when a Jewish girl that goes on to become the president of the European Union and World Union of Jewish Students prepares for her Muslim roommate the hijab every morning because she broke her arm just before the conference. When a small art piece drawn by an MJC team member in the aftermath of the attacks on Charlie Hebdo, reaches 25,000 people on social media with a message of unity in times of online hate and confrontation, when 160 changemakers from more than 40 countries come to the Muslim-Jewish conference to talk to each other instead of about each other, because it is the only place they know. Then interfaith and intercultural dialogue between young leaders of today needs to be taken seriously as a prevention tool and as a tool against hate and racism, as much as security institutions are tools to protect us from them. My family came to Austria in the 18th century. Jews and Muslims alike fought in the armies of the European empires as patriots for their own country's causes. Their titles, achievements, honors, it all meant nothing when Europe decided to massacre its minorities again and again. There was only one single thing that made a difference: human passion, empathy, and a sense of what is right when the time is right. And this knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, it has no religious boundaries. It has no nationality or political affiliation. As my grandfather, a 16-year-old boy back then, fled from Austria, the same Austria that had knighted his ancestor and murdered his mother, when he was hiding in the toilet of a train trying to sneak into Belgium, none of this made any difference. When the German army found him hiding in the train, arrested him, and threw him in a jail cell on the Belgian border, none of it made any difference. When a German soldier approached his cell the following night and ordered him to follow, when they entered a car and drove into the woods, and when he was asked to step out of that car, in the middle of nowhere, none of the achievements, patriotism, or dedication to the country his family has lived in for centuries made any difference. The only thing that made a difference was the humanity, was the conscience of the German soldier when he pointed my grandfather in that direction and said, "Run, over there is Belgium." It is safe to say that the reason that I am alive today is interfaith in its essence. The reason that I am alive today is because human beings, no matter their religion or political view, understood that the time is always right to do what is right. The dark chapters of European history are a painful reminder of what happens if we give in to the concept of them versus us. Therefore, we try something at the Muslim-Jewish conference so simple and yet so difficult: to humanize each other. Over 160 current and future leaders from across the globe joined us here in Berlin at the 6th Muslim-Jewish Conference to achieve what many still deem impossible: mutual respect through knowledge, interaction, and project-based cooperation. All of this because one day we might be the ones to decide. And the fate of the others will depend upon doing what is right when the time is right. And I want to end on a quote of somebody who knows the English language much better than me. Helen Keller once said, "Today we are only few, but still we are few. We cannot do everything, but still we can do something. And because we cannot do everything, we will not refuse to do what we can do." Welcome to the 6th Annual Muslim Day.